There's a moment every entrepreneur hits. You're working harder than you ever have. The calendar is packed, but the inbox feels endless. That to-do list never gets shorter, and somehow the business still isn't growing the way that it should be. But the problem isn't effort. The problem is leverage. Welcome to the Leverage Podcast. I'm your host, John Davidson, and every week I'm sitting down with founders and top performers who have found that lever. The hire, the system, that mindset shift that changed everything. This show is for the business owner who's ready to stop being the bottleneck and start being the architect. Let's get into it. Welcome to another episode of the Leverage Podcast. I'm your host, John Davidson, and I am excited to be joined by an incredible associate broker, Missy Capozzoli, who is hailing from an iconic part of the country where she helps buyers and sellers. Missy, tell our audience, where are you based?
My office is based in Hampton Bays. I live in East Quogue, and my market area is basically anywhere from Moriches through Southampton.
Fantastic. So to start out here, Missy, tell our audience, what makes the Hamptons a great place to buy a home?
The Hamptons are great to buy a home in because you're buying a lifestyle. You're not just buying square footage, you're buying beach access, you're buying outside space, you're buying restaurants, you're buying everything that the Hamptons has to offer.
Yeah, I love that. And speaking of the specific geography of the Hamptons, from what I understand, the west of the canal is different from the east side of the canal. Is that accurate?
That is very accurate. West of the canal used to be the consolation prize. It's where people ended up because they couldn't afford east of the canal. Now people have realized that this is the destination. Our proximity to Manhattan is so much easier. You know, if you have two kids in the back seat going, when are we going to get there? When are we going to get there? You have another hour and a half to 2 hours to get from West Hampton to East Hampton in summer traffic.
Yeah.
And you get so much more bang for your buck here.
Mm-hmm.
People realize that, and we are now where everyone wants to be.
Sounds like it's just exploding with growth.
It has.
Yeah. Well, I know that you've been in real estate for 21 years. And first of all, congratulations on such a long and successful career. I'd love to know, how did you first find real estate and what made you choose this career path?
It's funny, actually. I was a teacher, and I waited tables at night. And I was working a Christmas party for Norma Reynolds Real Estate. And I was just doing my thing, and Norma actually pulled me aside. And at that time, she was one of the bigger agencies west of the canal. She has since passed on and sold to Sotheby's, but she was a big company. And she pulled me aside and said to me, "You have such a great personality. You should be selling real estate.
Wow.
Get your license and I will hire you."
Wow. You got a job before you got your license, basically.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So what was that like then, taking that step and then starting that role?
So I got my license and didn't do anything with it for a few years. It just kind of sat in a drawer, and I had my first child and realized I didn't want to leave her home.
Yeah.
So I placed my license with a company that was called Allen Schneider. It was one of the biggest companies in the Hamptons back then, and took my child to work. You know, it was so great. She knew, she would come and sit, you know, by the time she was 2, she knew all the agents. She would come to the open houses. She would eat lunch. Like, everyone knew her. It's such a great community. And it was so welcoming at the time that I have never looked back.
That's wonderful. Well, I talk to a lot of top agents, and there are a variety of different unique facets of all different sorts of parts of the country. But tell me, from a real estate broker's perspective, what makes the Hamptons a unique market from other areas?
The Hamptons is unique because there are so many little markets within the big market.
Mm.
You can have two homes a couple of miles apart, even across the street, and they have extremely different values. Because unlike a Manhattan apartment that you can buy on square footage because they're the same amenities in the building, we
Yep.
don't have that. Every home has its unique nuance. You can be in West Hampton Beach, walking distance to the village, and have 1,000 square foot home that is worth 3 times more than a home in West Hampton that's 3 times the size.
Wow.
It's a very nuanced market here, and you really need to know that market.
Yeah. So then how do you go about really making sure that you know every little nuance of, markets within markets backwards and forwards for your clients?
I think it helps because I live here. I don't just sell real estate here. This is my life.
Yeah.
My kids went through school here. The relationships I've built with people and knowing, I go to every open house. I don't just look at MLS. I'm out in the field every day.
Yeah.
And that really helps know the market.
Absolutely. You have to have boots on the ground and, really know from your personal experience, hey, you know, this is the best restaurant, this is the best route here. You
That's
may
it.
think you want to live here, but what you don't
You
know
don't.
is for XYZ reasons, right?
The planes are going by every day. Is that okay with you? If not, let's look over here.
Yeah, and that's great insight. Well, I know that obviously these are not low cost homes, and these are big decisions for any family, regardless the net worth. How do you go about building trust with people to trust you with such an significant decision in their lives?
I think it's the easiest way to build trust is to be honest with people.
Mm.
Um, I'm not just looking for that next sale or closing. I'm looking to build a relationship that will last a lifetime, not necessarily with just that buyer or seller, but with their friends, with their family, with the referrals they're going to give me. And the
Yeah,
best way to build that is by being honest with people.
yeah,
I have no problem telling people, yes, you found this online. These are the positives, these are the negatives. Are you okay with this? If
yeah,
you're not, we can find you something else.
yep. Yeah, honesty is the best policy. And how do you, I know this, not everybody knows what they're actually looking for, right? People can come into this moment and think, "Oh, I'm looking for this."
Oh, yeah.
But you have to really pull out of them the deeper needs and open their eyes to, you think you want this, but what really is going to be best for you is this. What are some of the tips that you can give our audience for those conversations and really getting to those foundational questions and needs?
Again, it's all about honesty in relationships. I think I have done so well in all these years because I truly do build relationships with my buyers, with my sellers. I ask the questions, and I'm not afraid to ask the questions. And I go into depth, and I spend a lot of time with both my buyers and my sellers to find out what really it is they're looking for. And like you said, sometimes they don't know. And I have no problem driving people around for 3 hours and showing them the different areas and talking to them about different things, which will give them a better idea of where it is they want to be and why they want to be there
Yeah.
and what
I-
different neighborhoods have to offer.
I'm curious, this is a personal question. So you live there.
I do.
So based on your personal enjoyment, what you like, what is your favorite part of the Hamptons personally?
Honestly,
Yeah.
my favorite part of the Hamptons is in the fall.
Mm.
It's in the fall when I can go to the fantastic restaurants and I can go paddleboarding without hitting traffic going to Hampton Bays,
Yeah.
going to the beach and walking for 5 miles and not seeing anybody else. I love in the off season when it's just, nature and local and community.
Yeah.
The summer's great. Don't get me wrong.
Of course. Yeah.
But I love the community that we live in. And I think buyers who are buying in now are realizing there is such a great community here.
I love that. Well, I know you've been in business for 21 years, as we said, and you've performed at a high level throughout your career. What is the key that you found to consistency of performing at that top level over the years?
I think that consistency, again, it all comes down to relationships. This is not I need to make a sale today business.
Yeah.
This is, I am here. I am your local support system. And I tell my clients this all the time, the day after the closing doesn't mean our relationship ends.
Right.
I am a phone call, an email, a text away at all times. I answer every question. I am your local resource. If you need a vendor, if you need a bar, I just had somebody text me, I need a bartender for my daughter's engagement party. Do you have one? Sure, here you go.
Yeah.
Because I have the community connections that second home buyers don't necessarily have, and even primary home buyers, because I've lived here for so long.
Right. Yeah, I think that's something that young real estate agents miss is, become a resource for the community beyond just, hey, this is who you go to when you're going to buy or sell, right?
Yeah, that's why I have such a great referral business. Because I am your resource. I got a text message this morning from somebody he had 2 houses. I sold one for him 10 years ago. He just texted me, hey, I think I'm about to sell the next one. Can you meet me today?
Yeah.
Sure.
You're top of mind, right?
Because I have always, like when he needed someone to fix his screen door, I sent him someone. When he needed a landscaper, I sent somebody. I know all the local resources, so I become the local resource.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And how do you go about, proactively keeping in touch with your clients between transactions of buying and selling?
It's with modern technology, it's pretty easy. Drop an email, shoot a text, just seeing how everything is. How'd your summer go? If there's a snowstorm, do you need someone to come plow? Do you want me to recommend someone? Just little things like that. If there's a beach party in Quag, hey, you guys want to come? Just simple things. There's a great new yoga studio. Want to drop in with me?
Yeah. Well, I think when you genuinely care about people, that becomes a much easier part of the job, right? It's not, oh, I got to check my CRM or my calendar and who do I have to check in today? It's like, oh, hey, I want to reach out to my friends.
Yeah.
Let's see how they're doing.
That's what this is, because it's my community. So people who end up here are my friends because they're my community members.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I want to get into some of your learnings based on the variety of cycles that you have experienced over 20 years. But before we get into that, let's listen to a short message from our sponsor, Sphere Rocket.
Business owners and entrepreneurs will place a proven executive assistant VA for just $4 to $8 an hour. And if they don't perform, you don't pay. Imagine freeing up 20 plus hours a week by someone handling your most time-consuming tasks like admin work, managing emails, scheduling meetings, and so much more. This one hire could transform your productivity and give you back the time you need to focus on growing your business. At Sphere Rocket VA, we make this possible in as little as 7 days. We'll place a proven executive assistant VA in your business for just $4 to $8 an hour, and your VA will take over day-to-day administrative tasks, help manage your email, email and calendar, follow up with past clients, giving you back 20 plus hours a week so you can increase your sales and even enjoy more personal time. And here's the best part. If they don't give you back 20 plus hours a week in the first month, you don't pay Sphere Rocket a dime. We've done this for thousands of business owners, and now it's your turn to see the results. Click the link around this video to schedule a demo and discover how this one hire can completely change how you run your business. Remember, if within 45 days the VA doesn't perform, you don't pay.
All right, we were back here with Missy Capozzoli, and we're talking all about the Hamptons. She is your resource for this unique and vibrant community here. So, Missy, as we stated earlier, you've been in real estate for 21 years, and there's been ups and downs in the market over the past 2 decades. Share some stories with us and help us understand, how have you been able to maintain a successful business through the ups and downs of the market?
So when I started, it was in 2005, and that was just crazy. I would take somebody out, they'd see 3 houses, and by the time we got back to the office, we were writing up the offer sheet on at least one of them. And then we had 2008. And that was tough.
I remember 2008.
That was really tough. It really taught me that markets can change, but you really have to persevere. I learned how to do something called BPOs back then. Agents were jumping ship, and I hunkered down. I started doing broker price opinions, which really taught me a lot about pricing.
Yes.
I supported myself. I made it work, but it also taught me a lot about pricing, which really helps me today. I basically sell most 90%, 95% of my listings at or just under what we price them at. And it definitely taught me that, you can be a successful agent when the market isn't good. You just have to know how to guide your clients when the market gets difficult.
Yeah. Well, specifically on pricing, what were some of the things that you did learn that have really helped you specifically?
I learned how to comp houses out. And I learned that it's not square footage. It's all about the amenities each home has. Every home is its own entity here. And it's, we'll get buyers from the city and they'll say, well, it's priced at this and the square footage is this. So that means they're asking this per square foot. Yeah, but it doesn't work that way.
Right.
If you can see the water from your house, that's going to increase the value.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on a double yellow line, that's going to decrease the value.
Yeah.
I learned how to comp houses out using the tools available to me.
Yeah, that's very well said. Now, if you're working with a client who is pretty set on, hey, I want to sell this house for this much, or this house should be worth this much, or maybe they're hearing something from their friends, or maybe there's something priced around the corner.
They all hear something from their friends.
I have no doubt. Take me through a conversation. Let's say I'm that person, right? And I'm saying, Missy, this house around the corner sold for XYZ. I see you're telling me we should price it here, but Missy, I really think we should be up here. How are you consulting me as your client?
So as your client, I'm bringing the comps to your house. We're sitting down at your kitchen table and we're going through them one by one.
Yeah.
And we're going through the positives and the negatives. And I'm showing you these homes sold for this, and this is what they brought to the table. This is what your home brings to the table, and this is what it's going to sell for using the comparable marketing available. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. Now, share with us, what are the dangers of pricing a home too high?
If you price your home too high, in the long run, it's going to be worth less than what it should have been had you priced it correctly.
Yeah.
The longer it sits on the market, the lower the value.
Yep. I had great insight from a real estate agent. I'm over here in Dallas, and I sold a home about 2 years ago. And during this time, it was around the peak of the market in this area. It was just below the peak. And so a couple things were happening. Number one was some people were just testing, how much can I get
Oh,
for
yeah.
this thing? Right? And then people just believed that because this thing, market had been on a rocket ship, you're going to get whatever you asked. And I thank the Lord for my real estate agent, Kimberly. She said, John, hey, here's the sobering truth. Your house is worth X.
Yeah.
And it was significantly less than what these other people were asking. She said, John, the last thing you want is for this house to sit on the market. People are going to wonder, why is it sitting on the market? Then we're
Yes.
going to bring this price down, and people are going to say, why'd that price come down?
Yeah.
What else is wrong that I don't know about?
Yep.
And you're going to scare people away. And so you really got to. Now, let me take you on the other side of things. How do we avoid pricing a property too low?
So, in all honesty, it's almost better to price it a little bit under value right now
Hmm.
because we're still having bidding wars here.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
So if you price it a
Oh, so you
little
get
bit,
people in, and then they're
yeah,
going to
they're
push each
going to
other
bid it
up.
up. Yes.
That makes sense.
So that is your best marketing strategy right now, is to price it just a tad below market value. You're going to get 50 people at that first open house. They're all going to want it, and it's going to go over what you would have listed it for in the first place.
That is a tremendous insight. I appreciate you sharing that with us. Now, in luxury real estate, personal brand matters, right? And I think in any industry, when you're dealing with a premium product or a premium service, the personal brand matters. How have you effectively built a personal brand so that people know, hey, I go to Missy when I'm looking in the Hamptons?
Again, I think it comes down to relationships. I think that, having a trusting relationship with my buyers and sellers makes them want to refer me to people that they care about because they know I'm going to take care of them. I'm going to be honest with them. And I'm going to do the job they're hiring me to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And you've been in the community for quite some time, so people really know you
They do
as
know
well,
me.
right? And
Yeah.
people who don't know you know people who really know you. There's no secret. Who is Missy?
No.
Yeah,
I was out with friends the other night and my girlfriend was like, "Oh my God, you're like the mayor. You know everybody in this place." Well, yeah, because I live here. I
that's right.
work here.
Yeah.
I coached sports when my kids were little. I was the Girl Scout leader. I am part of the community.
Yeah, and that leads me to my next question, which you're leading to. So for young agents who are getting into this, how can you effectively get involved into your community? What are some ways that may not be the most obvious? People can put up ads or what have you, but what are the really effective ways to really build those relationships in the community?
To build relationships in the community, I think that you don't look at this as a transaction at a time. You look at this business as a relationship at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And you're in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
When you start, you can't think about it like, oh, I'm going to be rich in a year because I'm selling real estate in the Hamptons.
Mm-hmm.
You have to think about it more that I'm going to build these relationships that in the next 5 to 10 years will circle back and help me build my brand.
Yeah, that's very well said. Now, once again, for new agents, what are some common misunderstandings that you see real estate agents coming into the industry with?
Oh, they think it's easy. They think that they don't, that they're just going to sit at a desk and the calls are going to come in and they're going to make money. And unfortunately, it doesn't always happen that way. You really have to be out in the community. You have to build these relationships, and you have to build trust. You know, these people are trusting millions of dollars with us.
Right. And you're not gonna, I mean, hopefully at some point, when you're at 21 years in your career, you're getting referrals, right? People know you,
Yes.
you're getting some inbound calls, but I shouldn't expect a lot of inbound opportunities in my first years in the business.
You know, during COVID, I would say yes. Now, no. COVID was a whole different animal.
Yeah.
But now, unless you have a book of business, unless you have, a relative that is a builder, no, the calls aren't just going to fly in.
Yeah.
You have to be out there cultivating the relationships that will build the business.
Yeah. Very well said once again. Now, I'm curious if you were to go back and talk to the Missy from 21 years ago, who was teaching, who was waiting tables,
That was my
who
cat.
who had just gotten her real estate license. If you were to talk to your former self and give a piece of advice, what advice would you give?
I probably would say that what I have been saying, like make sure to continue to cultivate relationships. Success is having my past clients call me years later.
Mm,
And the only way to do that is to cultivate the relationships.
yeah. Yeah. Now, beyond the obvious and beyond the check-in, do you have any unique ways of cultivating these relationships? We've talked about checking in with people. We've talked about inviting them to parties, being that resource. Is there anything else that has really, helped to deepen these relationships for you?
Honesty.
Mm-hmm.
I think trust and being honest with people and creating that trust cultivates these relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one question I love asking each guest has to do with learning from failure. And so I don't know about you, Missy, but I tend to learn more from my losses than my wins, unfortunately. But it is a blessing to at least learn from the failures. What was something in your career that maybe it felt like a failure at the time, but it resulted in one of the most impactful lessons you've learned to date?
I don't know, honestly. I guess what the most important thing I learned was about pricing. And I learned that many years ago that you can't listen to what a seller wants for their house. You have to have proof of what that house is worth. And I wasted some time taking overpriced listings and working my tail off trying to get them sold when they really never had a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't make that mistake anymore.
Yeah, you set yourself up for success and have those hard conversations, those honest conversations, rather than just taking the
Whatever you
easy
say.
route for the short term, which turns out to be a much harder route long term,
Yes.
sounds like.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, one final question for you, Missy. Once again, thank you for joining me today. You've been incredible sharing your insights, and I love the story of your career. For those who are listening who are saying, boy, I'm really interested in, some real estate in the Hamptons, and, I can tell Mayor Missy, uh, knows everybody, knows every nook and cranny of that area. I'd love to get in touch with her. How can folks get in touch with you?
Anybody can call me at any time. They can shoot me an email. They can find me on Instagram, Douglas Elliman, Hampton Bays. I'm pretty easy to find.
Yeah. Look for the crowd, and Missy's going to be in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, Missy, thank you so much for joining me. It's so fun talking about such a unique market, and I appreciate you sharing all of this on the Leverage podcast.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.